Hey y'all, welcome back to Crime Time with Mal. My name is Mal. In case you have never seen me before, hi and welcome to my channel. I hope you like what you see and you decide to stick around and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. And for everybody that is returning, y'all know I appreciate y'all more than words could ever say. So real quick, I do want to put a disclaimer in this video. I'm about to talk about mental illness and some other certain subjects. If it makes you queasy or anything, I understand if you do not follow with me along with this series, but this is going to be a new series on my channel. If you haven't seen last Friday's video, I will link it up here for you to go ahead and go watch. Today is all about Elisa Lam, and if you have not heard about this case, holy cow, there is a like new, I guess, Netflix documentary. If you have not seen it, I think it's called like Crime Scene, the Cecil Hotel. You'll need to go check it out. It is really good. And if you have not heard about the Cecil Hotel, y'all are in for a treat. And I know this is really not like a did she do it or foul play, but a lot of people question, you know, if this was an accident or if this was really something more sinister than that. So y'all let me know in the comments below after I get done with this video. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this. Also, if you have heard about this, let me know also. Elisa Lam was born on April 30th, 1991. She was 21 years old and lived in Canada when she decided to go travel the West Coast, LA, all by herself and just to sightsee. She visited the San Diego Zoo and posted pictures, and she kind of journaled her trip through Tumblr. And on January 26th, Elisa arrived in LA, and 2 days later, she checked into the Cecil Hotel. Technically, she checked in to stay on Main, which is still a part of the Cecil Hotel, and I'll explain a little bit about that if you don't know. So the Cecil Hotel is a very old hotel. It's beautiful, tons of history, and it was built in the about early 1920s, and shortly after it was built, the Great Depression hit and it never really became the same. It was known to harbor a lot of murderers and felons that could not normally get a place to live. They would stay at the Cecil Hotel because it was really cheap and they did no background checks. So needless to say, not the greatest people were staying at the Cecil Hotel. There were tons of assaults and murders, and actually Richard Ramirez, which is known as the Night Stalker, he stayed at the Cecil Hotel along with Jack Underweger. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But he was a known serial killer in Australia, and to get away from that, he moved to LA and stayed at the Cecil Hotel as well. So to try to get away from, you know, the word of it not only being a bad hotel, not a very good reputable hotel, but they were also located on Skid Row. And if y'all have not heard of Skid Row, it's not the greatest area to be. They took half of the lobby of the Cecil Hotel and made it into Stay at Main. So Stay on Main was on one side and the Cecil Hotel was on the other. They took 4 floors out of the Cecil Hotel and made them strictly for Stay on Main guests. So they had their own lobby and their own floors, but the elevators were still a common area. So if you were on the elevator, you could have been in an elevator with a serial killer. You just don't know. But they were trying to, you know, revamp it. They remodeled the floors on Stay on Main. They put a new reception desk. They all had different hotel uniforms. You know, they were trying to rebrand this hotel. And when Elisa was searching online for an affordable hotel to stay in California, that popped up, so she booked it. And she was initially staying in the room with 2 other female, I believe, roommates. They were staying on the 5th floor, and they started complaining to the staff about Elisa's odd behaviors, and they eventually moved 2 days later, only of her staying in that room, they moved her to a room of her own. Now, a little side note, Elisa has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder 1 and depression. And bipolar disorder 1 is when you can have, you know, voices and see things. I don't know if you do have bipolar, my heart goes out to you. And I don't know if you have ever met anyone with bipolar, but somebody very, very, very close to me has the same kind of bipolar. And my heart goes out to her, you guys. It's not easy to deal with. So Elisa was prescribed medications to treat her bipolar and her depression. And from the looks of it on her social media, she did mention this, and she, you know, hated the fact that she had to wake up every day and rely on medication. She just hated that. And I know from my friend, she hates that as well. But, you know, there's just some things that I feel like you need to be medicated because they're going to help you more than they would hurt you. And her family said that she was not suicidal, but she would have episodes of, you know, being paranoid and feeling like somebody was chasing her. She would also hide in places. Elisa was contacting her family every day of her travels, you know, just keeping them in the loop, making sure she's safe. I know I would have anxiety if my child flew across the world. So, you know, she's just being a good daughter and keeping contact with her parents. And on February 1st, her parents didn't hear from her, and she was supposed to check out of the Cecil Hotel that day. And when her parents didn't hear from her because she was supposed to go to Santa Cruz, they called LAPD, and her family flew to LA to help with their search. And the staff at the hotel said that they did see her that day, but she was alone. And the GM said that she also saw Elisa, but she was acting kind of odd, and she went into the lobby and raised her hands and said, "I'm crazy, but isn't everyone here all crazy?" Something along those lines. And I'm sorry, but if you're getting calls, if you are the GM of a hotel, I used to work in a hotel, not very long, but I did. And maybe it's just my nature, but if I see somebody acting odd, her roommates are telling me that she's acting odd, I'm gonna check in and make sure that they're okay. So I do think that the GM, you know, should have made sure Elisa was okay and maybe talked to her a little more than she actually did. But then again, this is the Cecil Hotel, and crazier things happen at this hotel. So police searched the hotel, they searched her room, they had dogs with them, they searched up on the roof. They weren't able to go in every single room because if somebody was in there, they couldn't just go in there unless they knew a crime had been committed in that room. So they weren't able to search every room, but they did as much searching as they possibly could. The scent dogs never really picked up on anything. I do believe they picked up on a trail that led out to a window. So we will touch base on that a little bit later in this story. February 6th, LAPD decided that they needed the public's help. So they started posting flyers, and they brought this case to the media's attention. So by February 15th, after a week of no sign from her, they decided to release this video footage of the last known sightings of Elisa in an elevator at the Cecil Hotel. It is wild. And you're gonna see this video. It's not the whole video. I will link the whole video down in the description if I can find it. And once that video was released, you guys, it went viral. I believe it went viral in Japan, and then it ended up going viral here. But millions and thousands of people were commenting on this video so that it looks like she is being talking to somebody outside of the hotel, being chased. And it is very odd. So as you can see, Elisa walks into the elevator and starts hitting all these buttons. She looks like she's hiding from somebody. She keeps stepping out of the elevator when the door doesn't close, keeps coming back in, looking around the corner, making all these weird hand gestures, all while this door remains open. So some theories are that somebody's actually outside of the door holding the button for the door to stay open, and that's why Elisa keeps peeking out and seeing what's going on out there. She then steps out of the elevator, and eventually the door closes. Now, viewers are saying, once this video came out, they were saying that the video was tampered with. If you can tell the numbers on the bottom, they're all blurred, like you can't even tell the time. It looks like at the end when the door closes, it looks like it's cut and the door is like halfway out instead of slowly coming out. And they're saying that that was probably to protect the identity of the killer. So during Elisa's search, you guys, this is crazy. Guests at the hotel started complaining to staff of their water tasting gross, kind of off, discoloration in the water, and very low water pressure. So the maintenance man of the hotel decided to go up to the roof, and on top of the roof were 4 water tanks that supplied water to the hotel. He went up on one of the water tanks, realized that the hatch was open, he peered in, and that's when he saw Elisa's body floating in the water. So you guys, that means for 18 days, people from this hotel were showering, brushing their teeth, and drinking this water that her decomposing body was in. So LAPD drained the water tank. They decided that instead of lifting her body through the very small opening on top of the tank, that they would drain all the water, let her body softly float down to the bottom, and then cut a wide side hole in the bottom of the tank and retrieve her body that way so that it would not get damaged. And they also found her clothes that she was wearing in the elevator video at the bottom of the tank. So she was nude. A lot of people had concern that on the coroner's report, how it says, you know, homicide, accident, undetermined, you have to check one, well, they have to check one of those boxes. They checked undetermined, marked it out as an error, initialed it, and dated it as the 18th. And then on the accident, they marked accident, dated it, and they corrected it as that's what they meant to mark it as. It was an accident. 4 months go by and they don't release anything. The toxicology report, the coroner's report, everybody is just waiting there, trying to figure out what happened to Elisa. They are sure that they're going to mark it as a homicide, and everybody's just waiting. And finally, in June, the full coroner's report comes out and it is released. It stated that her body was found naked in the water, and at the bottom of the tank were similar clothes to what she had on in the elevator. They were coated with a sandy-like particulate in her clothes. Also, her watch and her room key were also found in the tank. But her phone's nowhere to be found, and it wasn't in her room, so it's guessed that her phone was stolen during this investigation. There were no signs of physical trauma. There were no signs of sexual assault or suicide. And some questions were going around that, well, maybe she was having a bad trip, because that's what it looked like in the elevator. But the toxicology reports came back that no drugs were found in Elisa's system. And the only thing that was in her system was her prescription medication. But they weren't at the levels that they should be. And when police confiscated her prescription, they actually noticed that more pills were in the bottle than what should have been. And they came to determine that Elisa stopped taking her medication right around the time that she came to LA. So how did Elisa get to the roof? Inside, where the staircase leads to the roof in the hotel, there's an alarm system. If you open that door, an alarm will go off. So how did she get there? There is also another way to the roof. Outside of the windows of this hotel, there is a fire escape, and you know, they have to have it there in case of a fire. But there, at the top of the fire escape, there's a really rickety ladder that leads you up to the roof, and she could have climbed that. And remember, I said that the dogs did smell her smell at a window. So, but police and police dogs did search the roof and they found nothing. The police dogs didn't even find her scent up there. So if they searched the roof, my thing is, why didn't they search the water tanks? I know that is not, you know, like a common thing for somebody to put a body in a water tank But you're an investigator and no stone should go unturned. In my personal opinion, you should be looking at everything, everything. And if they would have looked there, they would have found her. And I'm sure they are kicking themselves for missing this. One of the police officers did slip up to the media. They stated that when the maintenance man found Elisa, that the lid was closed, when in fact it was open. And this shows on the police report. You can see that the maintenance guy said when he walked up to the water tank, because you have to climb a ladder to get to the water tank, that the lid was open, and he looked in, and that is when he saw her. So that was just a mistake made by one of the police officers. Was it a big mistake? Yes, because you're saying it to the world basically, and people are gonna run with that. People are gonna be like, well, how did this girl put a 20-pound, because the lid is 20 pounds, so how did she put this 20-pound lid back over her if she was already in the water tank? So people started questioning, but in actuality, it was already open. So like I was saying, these water tanks are on top of the roof. There's 4 of them. They're 4 by 8 feet cylinders. They're propped up on a concrete block. So you have to climb up on a ladder, like I was saying, to get to this. And honestly, a lot of people are saying that maybe like an inside person in the hotel took Elisa up to the rooftop and they went through the inside to get up to the roof. But to carry her up there, open the 20-pound latch, and then put her body in there, that's just real difficult. Really difficult, to be completely honest with you. And I know this is the unpopular opinion, but I don't see how that could happen. People were also thinking that, you know, this is a conspiracy theory, that around that time on Skid Row, there was a big tuberculosis outbreak, and a lot of conspiracy theorists, and you know, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that I'm like, that does make a lot of sense. But this one, I don't know, you guys. The name of the test for tuberculosis is Lam Elisa. And a lot of people speculated that she wasn't even a real person, that it was just to drown out in case you searched Lam Elisa, that the test would not pop up, just videos and evidence of her. And that she just knew too much and the government had to take care of it. And another thing that people started discussing on the internet was they came across this guy named Morbid. And you guys, this is horrible. This is one of the reasons why I don't say, yeah, I think he did it, because of stuff like this. So people started tracking down this guy named Morbid. He's like a heavy metal singer, and they started seeing the songs that he was singing, and they were saying that they talk about death and stuff, and they started harassing this guy, sending him death threats and all kind of stuff, saying that he was connected. And yeah, that's a coincidence, but he wasn't even in the country. He wasn't anywhere near Elisa or the Cecil Hotel at this time, because he stayed at the Cecil Hotel a year prior to her disappearance. People were attacking him, so many other things, but this guy ended up being suicidal because of this. Like, people are accusing you of something that you did not do, and that is hard. So that is why I always say I'm not going to accuse somebody, because people are mean and they're vicious, and they say things that should not be said to a person, because at the end of the day, just because he doesn't look like the average person doesn't mean he's a killer. And I do want to know y'all's opinions down below. Do you think this was an accident? Do you think that there was foul play involved? I'm going to go ahead and give you my unpopular opinion. I have personally witnessed somebody having a bipolar manic episode, and my heart goes out to her. But her family said that she would run and hide, that she was paranoid at some things, and she did feel like sometimes people would chase her. Also, you can get voices, you can hear voices, and who knows what those voices were telling Elisa. I firmly believe that she stopped taking her medication. And because of that, she was having a bipolar episode. And in her mind, I firmly believe that she feels like she was running away from somebody. And she went up to the roof, through the fire escape, climbed up, opened the hatch, and jumped in. And they did mention this, that with the water being used in the hotel, depending, if the water was really high up, she could climb out easily. But if the water is being used, that water is going to go down, which is in turn gonna make her less likely to get out of the tank. And during some cases of hypothermia, it's rare, but it can happen. People will start to undress because of the reaction going on in your body during the hypothermia stage. And I think that's what happened, y'all. I really do. And you guys, I am all about getting some justice from people and digging into more cases, but I have witnessed bipolar episodes myself, and I really do in my heart think this is what happened to Elisa. And it breaks my heart, truly breaks my heart, that these were her last moments and she was just running from her mind. And my heart goes out to her family and to her, honestly. Like, it's just a heartbreaking, tragic, sad ending to this ginormous mystery. Y'all, please let me know what you think again in the comments below. Thank you so very much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video if you do, and subscribe if you are new. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And don't forget to watch this documentary on Netflix if you haven't already. If you also have Discovery Plus, they have a few things about the Cecil Hotel. I have always been very intrigued in the Cecil Hotel, so thank you again. I appreciate y'all more than you know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.